the NFL playoff bracket is officially set, and I'm gonna predict the entire thing with 100% accuracy guaranteed, even though my Super Bowl prediction will probably shock you. Beginning game 1 of the wild card round with the Chargers traveling to the Houston Texans. Which, how weird is it? Every time the Texans have made the wild card round of their history, they've been the Saturday 3:30 game. And speaking of the Texans, dude, I have no idea what to think of. Like, yeah, they get the Chargers at home, but in the last few months, they've dropped games to the Jets. They lost the game to my Titans, barely got past the Jags, and just 2 weeks ago lost 31-2 against the Ravens, which at least yesterday their backups did beat my Titans and it gave us the #1 pick. So thanks for that. But they're a team with so much potential, but at the same time, it's probably been the biggest letdown of the entire NFL this season. And on the flip side, the Chargers and old Jim Harbaugh have exceeded everybody's expectations this season. Justin Herbert's been fantastic this season. They've been able to run the football with J.K. Dobbins' resurgence, which thankfully for Chargers fans, he's came off IR and he is healthy for the playoffs. And let's not forget Lab McConkey, who's been incredible as a rookie, dude. As a second-round pick, had 1,000 yards this season. And can't forget to mention, I mean, obviously with the Jim Harbaugh-led team, the defense has been tough, been physical, been super solid all year. And with that, we're going to use this fancy smancy website to make our predictions. And to be completely different, you know, if the Texans kind of struggled throughout the season and showed promise like the last month or so, but they really haven't. Like, they could shock everybody, play to their potential on a run, but no, dude, I really think the Chargers go in there, play Jim Harbaugh, tough football, and beat the Texans to advance. I appreciate the first overall pick, though, which that takes us into game number 2 of the wild card round, Pittsburgh Steelers at the Ravens. Obviously, two teams that know each other very well. They did split their season series this season, although they played a few weeks ago and the Ravens took them down by 17. This is a Steelers team that is not playing their best football going into the playoffs, which is the opposite of what you want to see. They've lost 4 in a row, with 3 of those games not even really being close, mainly because Arthur Smith and that offense has hit a brick freaking wall. And with the Ravens playing some of their best football, as we already mentioned, they beat the Texans 2 weeks ago 31-2. I really think this is probably one of the easiest predictions I'm going to make in the wild card round. I think the Ravens beat the Steelers probably by 14 plus, which that takes us to one of the most intriguing matchups of the wild card rounds, where the Denver Broncos travel to Buffalo. Which I have to say, dude, shout out to Sean Payton, Bo Nix, and the Broncos. Like, nobody expected them to win 10 games. So I don't want anything I say here to take away from that, because like them with a rookie quarterback winning 10 games in that division, with a rookie Bo Nix as their starting quarterback with that cap space situation, is one of the most insane stories I've seen in the NFL last like 3, 4, 5 seasons. But at the same time, dude, the Bills are the Bills. They've also exceeded expectations this season. They weren't supposed to be good because they didn't have any wide receivers. I even thought they weren't going to win the division, and I was obviously proved to be a moron. Not to mention, Josh Allen might have very well won MVP this season. So I guess this season was proof. It doesn't matter who his weapons are. If Josh Allen's on the offense, they're going to be a top 5 unit at bare minimum. But as commendable as their effort has been this season, the Broncos have only beat like, what, 1, maybe 2 playoff teams all year? Yep, confirmed from my cell device. Their only win against a playoff team was against the Buccaneers at the beginning of the season. And no, I'm not including their win against a Carson Wentz-led Chiefs team. I think they'll keep it closer than what a lot of people think, man, but the Bills, their firepower is just way too much. Maybe year 2 for Bo Nix and the Broncos will be a different story. Now that takes us into the biggest heavyweight matchup of this wild card round, as the Green Bay Packers travel to Philadelphia. God, dude, I actually think this is probably going to be the toughest pick of this entire wild card round, because both of these teams are so good, dude. Like, I feel like the Packers are so much better than a 7 seed. Even though Jalen Hurts hasn't really played for 3 games, they've won 12 out of the last 13 games, dude. And the one game they dropped was a 3-point loss to the Commanders after Jalen Hurts was knocked out in the first quarter. They very easily could be going to the playoffs with a 13-game win streak. And not to mention, old Saquon Barkley had a pretty nice season himself. Like, if they didn't sit him yesterday, he's probably the all-time single-season rushing yard record holder, which I do have to say, though, Jalen Hurts going into a very tough playoff game without really getting any playing time the last month kind of worries me. On the flip side, though, the Packers did kind of end the season in disappointing fashion. They have lost 3 out of the last 5, although I don't know if you really count the Bears game because they benched their starters after the first quarter because everybody was getting injured. But for some reason, like the last month and a half, the passing attack really hasn't been clicking. Jordan Love's been doing a nice job of protecting the football, but like the passing game really hasn't been clicking, as like their offense has been literally running through Josh Jacobs last month and a half. So to win this game, I think it's really going to come down to like, does Josh Jacobs have a big game? Like, does Jalen Hurts, is he going to be rusty? And honestly, I am not going to just go with all the favorites. Like, I could be completely wrong. The Eagles could win by 3 touchdowns, but I'm going to give the Grossi Posse and the Green Bay Packers a shot, and that's probably going to be my biggest biggest upset prediction of the wild card round. If that actually happens though, which it very well might not, if this does happen, Eagles fans are gonna be freaking calling for Nick Sirianni's head. Now that wild prediction that inevitably is gonna get me roasted in the comments takes us to Jaden Daniels traveling to Tampa Bay. And honestly, dude, this is one of those matchups I swear you can just flip a freaking coin. These teams did play week 1 and the Bucks blew them out, but like, dude, that was Jaden Daniels' first game, so I don't really feel like you can put too much weight into that. As the Commanders have been super solid down the stretch, dude. Like, who expected the Commanders to win 12 games? They've won 5 in a row to end the season, including an absolute demolition of my Titans, which, to be fair, as mentioned already, one of those wins was a late victory against the Kenny Pickett-led Philadelphia Eagles. But Jaden's been playing some good ball. The Commanders' defense has exceeded expectations with Dan Quinn at the helm, and the Buccaneers have so much potential, dude. Like, when they're on one, like, they could be anybody in the league, but they've just been so up and down this season. Like, just in the last month alone, they beat the revitalized Bryce Young-led Panthers by, 30-something points. They beat the Chargers by 3 touchdowns, but in the same time, they lost to the Cooper Rush-led Cowboys. And not to mention, just yesterday, struggled to beat the Spencer Rattler-led Saints to clinch a playoff berth. So, like, I don't know what to expect from the Bucks. But when it comes down to it, the Bucks get this game at home, and I think I'm just gonna put my trust into Baker Mayfield. I feel like they're gonna come out, play on their A game, and if they play their A game, I believe can beat the Commanders. I mean, it's a tough one. Like, again, this is a flip of a coin, but I am gonna go with the Bucks. Which brings us into the last game of the wild card round, as the Vikings go from 1 seed to 5 seed and have to travel to Los Angeles. Again, dude, shout out the Vikings, shout out Kevin O'Connell, shout out Sam Darnold. Like, what a freaking season. Like, imagine signing Sam Darnold as like a bridge quarterback and almost winning the 1 seed. And I don't mean that as disrespect to Sam Darnold. Like, it just shows you how crazy just the right situation, the right timing can completely change a player. And the Vikings went on an insane run to end the season. Yeah, they lost yesterday pretty bad to the Lions, and that's kind of crazy with the Lions defense playing so good, although they basically have an entire defense of backups. What's funny is leading into that loss yesterday against the Lions, the Vikings had won 9 straight. You know who that last loss was to? The Rams. Which, speaking of the Rams, I feel like everybody wants to discount them, but dude, they are playing such good football right now. Like, yeah, they lost yesterday to the Seahawks, but like, dude, they had a team of backups out there. Like, it took a last-second touchdown for the full-strength 10-win Seahawks to beat Jimmy Garoppolo, Ronnie Rivers, and the DeMarcus Robinson-led Rams. Before that, the Rams have won 5 in a row, including a big win against the Bills, dude. So the Rams, although maybe not the most talented team in the NFL, has shown that they can literally beat anybody. And my worry for the Vikings, as close as they were to the 1 seed, is like, what Sam Darnold are you going to get? Like, 95% of the time this season, you got, Pro Bowl caliber Sam Darnold. Screw that, almost MVP caliber Sam Darnold. But again, you have games like yesterday, he's missing his reads left and right. And I hate doing this because he had such a good season, but I just put more faith in Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. I think they're going to get it done. So wild card round complete. I don't know what the crazier pick is. The Rams beating the Vikings, the Packers over the Eagles. But regardless, that sets us up for a hypothetical divisional round. We get Ravens, Bills, Chargers, Chiefs, Packers, Lions, Rams, Bucks. Since I guess we just talked about them, why don't we just go ahead and go with Rams, Bucks, as the Rams would have to travel to Tampa Bay for this one. That's crazy, dude. This means either Matthew Stafford or Baker Mayfield will be in the conference championship. And I'm telling you, dude, this is another one. That would be a complete toss-up. Like, who do I put more faith in, Baker Mayfield or Matthew Stafford? And I kind of already mentioned, dude, like, if the Buccaneers play their A game, they can beat literally anybody, but it's just like, what Buccaneers team are you gonna get? And I'm gonna go ahead and assume, like, if the Bucs took down the Commanders, which again, that game could go either way, like, they have to be playing their best football. So if they're playing their best football, they get a home game, I'm gonna put my faith in Baker Mayfield, dude. Who's been playing out of his freaking skull. I think, honestly, I'm gonna give the Bucs the win, which means the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in the freaking NFC Conference Championship. Which I have to say, dude, I didn't script any of this. I'm just going off the heart. So, like, I don't even know right now who's gonna be my Super Bowl winner. No, I tricked you in the intro. That was just for pizzazz. Which, let's go ahead and see who would be playing the Bucs in that conference championship game. We have the Packers and Lions. Again, 2 teams that know each other probably too well. And the fact of the matter is, dude, this would be a well-rested Lions team. I don't know who they'd even have back from that injured defense at this point. Probably another player or two, which obviously they'll take everybody they can get right now. And obviously, that extra bye week would be huge for this team to get healthy. David Montgomery also also should be back to this game, so that should help out the running game a little bit. And the truth of the matter is, too, dude, these teams have already played twice this season. The Lions have beat them both times. So you get Detroit rocking for another potential conference championship berth. Like, I think the Lions beat the Packers again, which would set us up for a Baker Mayfield versus Jared Goff conference championship. So who's going to be advancing into the Super Bowl? First, we got to go to the AFC, though, which the Ravens-Bills is going to be such a tough one for my brain to comprehend. So let's just go with Chargers-Chiefs first. Like, again, for the Chargers to make it this far, like, what a valiant freaking effort, dude. Like, once they get themselves some more weapons for Justin Herbert, like, watch out for the Chargers being a serious contender. But in the meantime, dude, I just don't think they beat the Chiefs. I don't know if the Chiefs are going to make it and win the Super Bowl this year, because, like, the Chiefs, even though they went 15-2, would have went 16-1 if they had played that last week, their starters, but at the same time, they've played so many close games. I think it's going to catch up to them eventually. But yes, I do have the 1-seed Chiefs once again advancing into the conference championship, which all comes down to Ravens-Bills, dude. Like, I don't know what to do here. This would hypothetically be in Buffalo, which is huge home field advantage. It'll probably be cold, but the good thing is the Ravens have Derrick Henry, dude. They can run the football, and Derrick Henry's had some success in his past against the Bills. And speaking of success against the Bills, Derrick Henry just ran for 200 yards against them this season in an absolute demolition where the Ravens beat them 35-10, which that by far was the Bills' worst game of the season, but like, you gotta consider that here. Now, big thing to consider here is Zay Flowers did just get injured. As of right now, his status is kind of in limbo. It doesn't sound too serious. I would expect him to be back by this point. I don't know if he'll be back for the wild card round. So even if he does play, like, you can't really expect him to be 100%. So that's, you know, kind of big with them being the Ravens' #1 receiver. This is a tough one, man. Like, I know I said some of these wild card matchups were going to be some of the hardest matchups to predict, but I think this one takes the cake. Like, Ravens, Bills, I don't know what to do. I've just been sat here for like 30 seconds, just like looking at my computer screen, trying to figure out what the heck to do. You know what? Cold weather, Buffalo, you have literally MVP 1A and 1B in this matchup. I think it's going to come down to the team that can run the football most effectively, and you got to give that advantage to Derrick Henry and the Ravens. Like, you just got to. Again, this is one of those that could go either way. The Bills could come out, win this game by 21 points, but I'm a Titans fan, man. I got to give Derrick Henry the edge. So how interesting. That sets us up for a 3 versus 1 seed in the AFC and a 3 versus 1 seed in the NFC. I'm gonna make this simple, dudes. We'll start in the NFC, Buccaneers, Lions. As much as I love Baker Mayfield, if the Lions make it to this point, dude, they are not doing what they did last year. They're not choking a Super Bowl berth away. Again, I know I've mentioned a million times, the Buccaneers and Baker can win any game if they play their A game. But like the Lions making it this far, I just don't think they're gonna lose. And at this point, man, Aiden Hutchinson could be back. Dan Campbell said maybe the conference championship game he could return. And obviously, that's going to be a massive factor. And I can't, see into the future. I don't have a crystal ball. But let's just take Dan Campbell at his word. I'm pretty confident, man, if this matchup was to happen, like, especially with Detroit hosting a conference championship game. They got robbed of hosting it last year. They're not going to lose 2 straight years in the conference championship. Absolutely no way. Detroit Lions are headed to the Super Bowl as they win the NFC for what, the first time ever? Yep, the Lions are the only NFC team to never make the Super Bowl. That's changing this year. That takes us to a rematch of last year's AFC Championship when the aforementioned Zay Flowers kind of ruined things for the Ravens. Now, thing is, this game will be in Kansas City, where last year's matchup was in Baltimore. I think I'll make this simple, man. The problem last year, the Ravens, why they didn't win, they didn't run the football. You know what they have this year? Derrick freaking Henry. I think he does it. I think Derrick Henry, for the first time in his career, makes the Super Bowl as the Chiefs, man, is won too many games by such slim margins. It's going to catch up to them eventually. I say that, and like we all know, the Chiefs play their best football in the playoffs, so again, I could be proved completely wrong here. But I think the Ravens running the football with Derrick Henry in the playoffs is just going to make such a huge difference. Which that officially means this year's Super Bowl matchup is the Baltimore Ravens versus Detroit Lions, a matchup that was so close to happening last year. Both teams that lost the conference championship a year ago right their wrongs and make it to the big game, but who's gonna win it, dude? Like, honestly, as a spectator, like, I would love to see either of these teams win. Like, I love Derrick Henry and Lamar, but obviously I love Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell's by far my favorite head coach in the league. I think a lot of people can say the same. And the thing that sucks is it would make like such a big difference in my prediction here if I knew who the Lions were going to get back and be healthy for this game. Like, is Aiden Hutchinson going to be back? Like, that would be huge. Like, at the same time, the man broke his freaking leg in half, like, what, 4 months ago? So, like, realistically, like, is he really going to come back and be 100% no? So I'm thinking about this logically, not emotionally. Like, both teams have dynamic offenses, kind of completely different sort of offenses, but dynamic in their own way. Like, as well as the Lions defense has been playing, even though they have like 6-7 backups. I mean, they gave up 9 points to the Vikings, man. Like, I just don't know if they're going to be able to contain that running attack. So I think I got to do it. So I think my official 2024-2025 Super Bowl champion is going to be... Just kidding. The Baltimore Ravens. So go ahead, let me know how wrong I got it in the comment section below. I want you guys to let me know what your Super Bowl prediction is. I mean, like, if I want to seem smart, in my preseason prediction, I predicted the Chiefs to win it all. So, like, if they win it all, at least that gives me some brownie points. So I will be reacting to my NFL preseason predictions soon to see how dumb I look. Because I remember I predicted my Titans to come in second. My God, we got the first pick. Don't forget to leave your Super Bowl prediction in the comment section below. While you're here, hopefully you enjoyed. Click right here to watch another one of my bangers. While you're here too, dude, please click subscribe. I'm gonna try to pass Mr. Beast by the end of the year. I only need about 100 million subs in like a 12-month span. I think we can do it.